Hello, welcome to my Sunday from. Here I have a fresh journal page that I wanted to write in. So we continue from New Year's to this week, and this week, well, I guess not much has happened, but a lot has happened. So it's been like a week since that whole thing. I don't know how you guys are feeling now that it's been a week, that we have all had been exposed to a bunch of sympathies. We've been exposed to a bunch of reading the manifesto aloud and a bunch of spotlighting and highlighting terror plot. I think it's disgusting. I don't think it has any room in public spaces for the general public to be exposed to. I don't think it should be broadcasted to where there are children in the audience. The general audience, I think, should be protected from these, sympathies, period. I think you should hold back when you're talking about what the plans were for a terrorist had plotted, why they had plotted it, and the reasoning behind it, because you're excusing him based on humanity of that person. You're dignifying him. You're humanizing him. That's not okay with me. What is supposed to have been done is exposing this person for betraying our trust, the trust of the public, of the American, of the patriot. You need to expose them. You need to cancel him and all the closed circles, all the networks, all the sympathies. Y'all need to step down, back the heck down from what you're doing right now, because it is wrong. Back up and have a seat. There is no room for sympathy for these terror attacks in this country. That's the one thing I saw a lot of was New Year terror sympathy exposed in broad daylight by many trusted platforms, including media, public figures with podium, and authority figures. There should be cancellation of future events in light of having exposed involvement of more than one each suspect of terror plot. You see, and that's another thing. They said there might have been other suspects. So we don't know who they are. It could be anybody. And with that said, do you think I'm going to disqualify you from future events that are involving terror when you're sympathizing with them? No, I don't. So stop. Having exposed involvement of more than one suspect of terror plot, and they recruit too. So possible recruitment happened prior pointing to inclusion of more, it could be more IED planting, suspicious, active, criminal. So, and like, they considered the Trump Tower small arms, but it's still, it was still considered, they told us it was considered suicide car bomb. Then sympathy showed up and came into play, and they downplayed it. But by law, we are required to tell you guys what they began with, because then we will get canceled. So, and the fact of the matter that they exposed that, there were expert level involvement in the New Orleans ones, because the New Orleans ones had a rare explosive, to which, they didn't say that particular suspect from New Orleans was an expert level explosive, person. He I don't believe I recall exactly what his expertise was in. I believe it was like he was doing real estate at the time. The other guy was in explosives from Las Vegas attack. He was an explosives expert. The fact that these happen at the same time makes it look less coincidental. And that's what I wanted to point out. And the fact that people are downplaying it and saying there's no way, when they don't know how and why. And if they do, and they have sympathy, then they need to be confronted about it by the authorities and questioned. Why do you have this information? Did you have prior knowledge? Why are you continuously praising this terrorist? Why are you honoring his manifesto? Why are you publicly expressing sympathies for terrorism? Lots of questions. And continuously suspicious activity among those who do sympathize with these people and their activities, which caused harm to the general population, at the end of the day. So that's what I wanted to say, So we went on to see Yoon Suk-yeol. He had resisted arrest. His security detail and followers physically blocked the arrest, and many began 24/7 demonstrations to prevent the act from occurring. So they prevented the arrest. South Korea president, or South Korean former president. His impeachment was cited to still be in court, and the reason why they failed to apprehend him and hold him for fear of flight risk. Until sentenced. Like I said, because he was still in court, and they said, you know, he needed to be formally charged and legally, you know, deemed guilty. His guilt verdict was cited for lack thereof being needed for more to happen, because this rare event was already triggering the public and angering opposition. His following. More. So basically, Yoon Suk-yeol was at his location, right? His place, his spot. Some personnel showed up for his arrest and his impeachment, because it was in process with the courts. You know, still hadn't found him guilty. It's still underway. And everybody was like, well, why don't you wait until his guilt verdict? When that happens, you can go ahead and take him in. But they were trying to get him inside, you know, the prison system, because they are afraid he will run. And just like he barricaded himself and resisted and, you know, allowed for all the demonstrations and stuff on his front lawn, basically, they feel like he's gonna continue, not just inciting, you know, this kind of like righteous act, but kind of inciting, like, you know, how do you call it, an uprising. That way, you know, it wouldn't be needed altogether, because then he would come into dictatorship power or something. So that's something that I wanted to bring to the attention, because like a lot of people talk about this here in the homeland, about Kamala Harris, and I feel like what they are asking for, you know, is dictatorship. And although they are using kind of like the more easier route, you know, by kind of downplaying it in media and making it kind of normalizing the speech surrounding it, it makes it kind of okay to talk about. And in my opinion, things like that, where you're speaking out against the government, anti-government, you know, is kind of, you know, it's kind of communism. And when the people ask for democracy, you know, you need to kind of just not irritate, you know, the common goal of that. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to end up with, you know, charges on your lap. And I think because it's still in court, so we have yet to see, you know, the action for which South Korea takes back the reins here. But you know, just like here, they don't get away with everything. I feel like they're not going to get away with that. The opposition is not going to get away with turning it into a communist dictatorship scenario to where he can just float, you know, just like they didn't allow the Biden admin to just float, you know. Like, I don't think it was a coincidence at all, you know. Just like AOC, she tries her little, all of a sudden she's socialist and uses the Democrat Party for her bidding. It's the same thing with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. So, I mean, it's just a matter of time until they become, you know, exposed and the public gain knowledge behind these unlawful acts of, you know, rising into power and creating the perfect atmosphere to continue having sole authority over the body of people. So there was a earthquake yesterday in Tibet, Nepal. Earthquake struck. At 7.1 magnitude. I believe they think it's a 7 point. I think they think it's a 7.1 initially, but they are continuously reporting 7.2. Regardless, this is a serious event. Many are still stuck beneath rubble and freezing temperatures. There were around 100 deaths and 150 injured. This was a rural area. Though they saw a higher number of casualties. Than we've seen lately. So there were like 20 aftershocks. So I think like like the countries surrounding it, like India, they were feeling the aftershocks. And they said that China sent crews to help aid in search and rescue. So the search and rescue is still underway to find victims, to find survivors, to continue to save the survivors. And like I said, they have a lot on their plate right now, and they're still aftershocks. So, but they're not. I don't think they're that serious. They're kind of big enough that the other countries are feeling it. But yeah, 7.1 is pretty big, and the videos that have gone viral, they have shown mountains of rubble. They have shown things being knocked to the ground, like in stores, stuff being knocked off shelves. You know, people just scrambling, trying to find a safer place to, you know, to have solid ground, you know, solid grounding. And yeah, it's kind of a gloomy scene. There was so much destruction, and because it was a rural area, you know, it's harder to get in and kind of just help, I guess. But I'd say it wasn't what I thought it was. I thought when you say rural, I'm going to see farmers and ranchers. It was actually city, you know, they had like towers of residential buildings, and like it was just rural cities, you know, cities that are kind of harder to get to, kind of like how they say China is. So, but this was near Mount Everest. And people have stated that it was a holy city. I believe it was a city known for monk lifestyle. So locally in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's been snowing. Sunday through Monday, a storm passed nearly a foot of snow. Stuck to the ground, causing cessation of use of the roads. Blocking roadways, making them impassable. Traffic was seen at standstills all the way to Kentucky. 14 states were affected by winter weather. Severe weather. snowstorms, which will continue here. We will continue to see lower temperatures and snow, as well as flurries this weekend. -3 below. Will hit and pause normalcy. This is serious, and take caution. I'd say take caution, especially pets, seniors. Check on your neighbors. Yeah, and take caution, you know. Watch for black ice. Continue watching for black ice as the temperatures continue to drop, and stay that way. You know, the freeze can cause a lot of problems. It has broken main waterways and etc. Some people have trouble walking on it, some people have trouble driving on it. So if that's you, kind of stay off of it. And also make sure wherever you're at, you know, look above. If you see snow, kind of avoid that, and you know, clear it off as soon as you can, because it can cause problems. Continue blocking your way, continue causing things to crumble and above you. So I'd say, you know, there's a lot of hazards out there right now with this change of weather and more severe weather. So just, you know, take proper precautions, and guys, stay warm. It's, you know, as it passes, it's still, I think it's still moving. So it's kind of slowly moving out, especially in the north, but in the south, they're still seeing that move towards the east. So, I mean, everywhere is going to be different. It's not going to be everybody's going to get a blizzard, no. But at the same point in time, just know, you know, there's precautions to have been made, preparations, and stay vigilant, like I said. You know, you don't want to get caught in the rain, you don't want to get caught in a flood, even if it's just a main water break. You don't want to, you know, you don't want to risk leaving the house unprepared, you know. If the temperature is below 0, there's like seconds, and then it reaches a point where it's really, really cold, unsurvivable cold. So, you know, you need to plan ahead in case you need to leave the house, or you need to be out and about, or, you know, you need to plan for those, you know, trips where you're moving from one door to the car door, or the car door, you know, inside, and vice versa. So, and especially your trip, you know, because like I said, some of the roads are impassable right now, and for some parts, you know, snow or what have you continues to be an issue. Let's see. Got type bag, insecure. So Donald J. Trump Trump officially 47th president. Congratulations. Of the United States. America. So we're starting the transition. That happened yesterday, and yeah, there was a lot of drama, a lot of tears. I hope whoever is hate watching, I hope they were happy tears. I wish you all the best in your struggle with sadness, because all your people were fired. Yeah, as the opposition leaves and we transition to real president-elect, we transition to real authoritative power, into real, podium holding, real offices in operation of government. Right? Let's go. It's 2025, you know what I mean? We're looking pretty good now. It's looking pretty good. So that happened. Let's see, what else did I want to cover? If there's any updates. The Stilfontein mines, I don't have any updates on that. I just know that everybody's still I'll write a note. Stilfontein. Still growing in concern for humanitarian aid. Many community organizations and activists are continuing to grow in numbers as time passes. And efforts are direly needed. So keep the miners in your thoughts and prayers right now, as as the case moves through the court system. Like I said, it's about $4 million for the equipment that they need to find a way to pay for. They need to get, I think they need to get a group for the rescue. They need to get a group organized for, their humanitarian assistance. So that way they have a better chance of survival below and above. And of course, the operation itself is a big task. It's a huge task, it's kind of like an overload, and it will take time in and of itself. They only have one shaft, they said, to operate out of when conducting the rescue. So the machinery, you know, and all that, they're already taking everything into account, you know, and the amount of time they have spent down there is kind of looming over the you know, the effort. So like I said, keep them in your thoughts because this really needs to happen soon. Like I said before, there are some people in there who are ailing. Like they're all ailing, but there are some who have medical needs and some are suffering right now, fighting for their life. So there's that came out the other day. See if I have any political news. See, the Bengals won their last game of the season, right? And then yeah, the Bengals won their last game of the season. Bengals end with 5-win streak. So go Bengals. And what else is there? Yeah, that Hochul thing still, everybody's still mad. Hochul still in the news as a toll is now legally required to enter Manhattan. She stated her original tax to be paid in cash was well over probably 2/3 more than current price. I believe I haven't heard how much you have to pay to enter Manhattan, but that Hochul requires a payment to enter Manhattan. If that's not gangster enough, I don't know what is. This was Kamala Harris and the Biden admin people, the opposition party, logic. And yeah, I don't know why people haven't called them out yet, but this is what's going on in New York. You know, New York State Governor recently asked to resign. By now has caused backlash once again. This is like the third time, by law enforcement, because she not only requires New York State constituents to pay. She imposes fee on Manhattan residents and first responders as well, who have suffered and yesterday only able to respond to 1/3 of their emergency calls. I can tell you right now, if she doesn't resign, they could probably take the National Guard to get her, because she has committed every unlawful act that any office could. I think that Yoon Suk Yeol would laugh her off her podium and that high horse, like, because she has done the most, she has done the most in 2024 and continues to be a clown and shame for the entire country, nationally, of course, because we're with you guys. We see this, we understand the struggle, and we call her out on it. You're a joke. Step down, resign, period, point blank. You can't do your job. You've hurt the civilians, and you're taxing like a gangster. I don't know what else to say. The bottom line is, do your job. Stop with the circus acts and your circus routine. And I'll tell you right now, all your clowns are going to end up being fired, just like they did in the Biden admin. So I don't know what you're still sitting there with, thinking that you're going to have the same pigeon coop to rely on to continue to bet for you and prop you up and, give you some more leverage you're probably not going to get in 2025. Guys, stand your ground. You say 10 toes down, boots on the ground for your country this year, and we won't have this buffoonery in 2025. All these things that happen behind the office, this current administration, which we are still yet to see transition, and I am glad for. But it takes step by step. We need to correct and impose sanction on those who did wrong and correct the wrong, right? So that was Hochul. Let me see how I'm doing on time, because I know we have a lot of things to cover. So I'll just stop there with, I believe, let's see if there's anything that I can remember I wanted to comment on. I believe the last thing I wanted to talk about was Canada's Justin Trudeau. He's like the prime minister or the president, resigned. He stated he was elected 3 times and found third time to be monotone in progress. So he found progress in Canadian I'd say global power plateau and cited they're probably possibly better candidates can come into power using vacant podium as he steps aside, kind of quote. So he feels like he was hindering progress, that him coming into power continuously was like, he already knew that he was going to get elected, re-elected continuously, that eventually, you know, y'all get tired of him because it was like the same policy over and over again, and he felt like it wasn't sufficient, it wasn't growing the platform Canada deserved, and it wasn't gaining any progress in the world as far as being visible. So he kind of wants to step aside and see what others can do, and I think he's showing his support for Canada finding footing in a more worldly way. And I feel like he's kind of saying, you know what, let's see y'all do better. Like, I feel like he's really doing that. Let's see y'all do better. I don't know why he would do that, but I really feel like that's what the message he sent. I mean, I understand, like, he didn't want to be president no more. You know, some people have, you know, term limits. Some people have time limits. And, you know, I don't believe in time limits. I understand if you sign up to serve, you serve, and that's it. I don't understand why anybody would back down from their position. So that's just my personal thing. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I took like an hour, and I still have a lot more to say. But I hope you like this video. So like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. My Sunday Front. Bye-bye.